If you're looking for the best basketball talk in the universe, you just found it. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. Troy Ramel Royal and me, your point guard, Jehudi. We're talking basketball, all basketball, and nothing but basketball. This is Deep Hoops. Hello, DETV, the Rewind Network, Facebook, YouTube. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. I am the minister.
And I'm Rob.
And we are passionate fans talking about the game that we love, the NBA and basketball. What's going on, Rob?
How you doing?
Man, I'm outstanding, man. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Good to be back.
It's great to be back. So today's show, we're going to talk about our predictions. We gave our predictions for the Eastern Conference, our predictions for the Western Conference, and now we're going to predict the end of the season, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and all of those awards. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to give you our closing comments. So, Rob, why don't you jump in and tell me, let's start with the MVP. Who's your MVP for this season?
Well, I have three nominees.
Okay, three.
Okay.
All right.
One would be Steph Curry, one would be Giannis, and the other one would be Joel Embiid.
Okay.
And I'm looking at Joel Embiid getting his first MVP honors this year. I think he's going to step up. I mentioned this in one of the shows that we did previously, that that sight of him losing to Toronto and crying on the shoulders of Marc Gasol, I believe that is his alarm clock. That is his wake-up call. I think that's what's going to send him into not only to the gym, but also into the kitchen, not only to get in shape and be in shape, but to eat right. I look for Joel Embiid to secure his first MVP.
And he's already doing that. They said he's lost weight. He's got a dietitian. He's working out. You know, he's really taking care of his body. I didn't do it, 1, 2, and 3. But I think if I had to do 1, 2, and 3, I'm not mad at your 3. I think I would put Anthony Davis somewhere in there. I think he's going to have an MVP type of season. But I'm just going to tell you who my pick is. I think with Durant leaving Golden State, Steph Curry is going to have an MVP season. And he's my prediction for the MVP of this coming season.
I mean, I don't debate you on that. I do think Steph Curry is going to come out and try to have a statement year. I just think it's going to be challenging because I believe he's going to be faced with a lot of double teams. But he's crafty enough to get out of it. I like your selection. I think Steph Curry, as you see, I had him as part of my top 3. But I think he's going to have a great year, a tremendous year and a tremendous impact.
And I teetered back and forth on Embiid. So, I mean, I think we're right there, I don't think there's much differentiation between me picking Steph Curry or me going with Embiid. You can go either way.
Now, I do have a question for you because over the years I've picked or suggested MVP candidates and talked with many of analysts on NBA radio and so forth, and they once told me that an NBA MVP candidate couldn't be on a team that's 7th, 8th, 6th in the playoff spot. How do you feel about that, being that you had Golden State last week, number 7 in
Listen,
the conference?
first of all, those are so-called experts, okay? Fans, we run this thing.
We have our own rules.
We have our own rules. Come on, man. I'm not going by them NBA radio people. Sure. I don't believe in most of those people on that radio station.
I mean, I remember the one year where Russell Westbrook was flirting with a triple-double, and it was the year that Durant got injured, and he was willing his team on his own. And I was saying, he's the MVP, and it was like, you can't be an MVP candidate when you're number 8.
That's why they're so-called experts, okay? And this is a fan show. So we want to hear what you think as always, all right? And we're going to have a poll up, but we would like to know what you think. I want to go to most improved player. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference between what we're thinking on this, but we may have different players. But who do you have for most improved player?
Yeah, to me, the 3 people that come to mind that I think is going to be liable for this this award: Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics, Dennis Smith Jr. Yes, Dennis Smith Jr. for the New York Knicks, and Lonzo Ball. I think all three of those candidates, those players, is going to have breakout seasons. I think they're going to have some impact seasons for their team. I believe that the Knicks' success is going to ride on the shoulders of Dennis Smith Jr. But Lonzo Ball is my choice. I just think getting away from LA, his dad is not focusing on him as much. He's focusing more on the other two brothers. And, Zion couldn't be a perfect match to him. I mean, first of all, you got a pro in Drew Holiday that's going to take pressure off of him. Zion is going to get the rebound, be willing to hand it to him, and I believe you're going to see Lonzo Ball looking like Pat Mahomes out there, getting that ball down the court to Zion. I heard an interview of Zion talking. He said, this guy threw me a lot from the foul line on the other side of the court. I mean, and they're working on chemistry as well. So I look for Lonzo Ball to maybe come out with 12 points a game and flirt with being a league leader in assists as long as he remains healthy.
Listen, because he is not going to be under the microscope of Los Angeles, where Magic said his number is going to be in the rafters. We talked about Tragic Johnson last week. I just think that he's poised for that. But I like the Gordon Hayward pick because I have Gordon Hayward as a person that could be in there. I also have Jason Tatum that is a person that can have most improved player because he showed us something in his rookie year. Mm-hmm. Last year, he took a step back. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to take a step forward. But I think they're going to wash each other out, Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward. And I think that Lonzo Ball will be the most improved player in the NBA this season. Do we have to ask this one? I'll ask you, or the people here in the studio, who's the Rookie of the Year?
Well, I mean, it's already sewn up. It's kind of like last year with Doncic. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was already anointed and awarded Rookie of the Year before he even stepped on the court. And I really thought Trae Young stole the Rookie of the Year.
I thought so too.
But in this case here, it looks like Zion has already got it locked up. And I think it's really a two-man race between him and Ja Morant. Perhaps, I can't pronounce his name, the rookie in Washington, he may have an opportunity.
Japanese?
Yes, the Japanese-born player out of Gonzaga. But really, I think it's just those two.
I think it comes down to, Zion. If we're going to do 3 picks, those are my 3 picks. Zion Williamson, and Zion. That's what it is.
I mean, I believe he got it sewed up already.
Yeah, so we can move on. This is a tricky one. Long-standing, always 6th man of the year, or is it going to be someone else? Who's your 6th man of the year?
Well, that one is going to be a little bit on the tricky side. I only can see it being one player, and that's really Lou Williams. But here's the thing. Is Gordon Hayward going to start in Boston? Is Kuzma going to start in LA? I mean, right now I'm not sure of the lineups, but I do know 2 players that will not be starting. And, 3. And I think it really comes down to these 3 players, Marcus Smart, Eric Gordon, and Lou Williams. And I think Lou Williams is going to secure another 6-man award.
I'm just going to go out there on a limb. I don't know the starting lineup. But I think if the Lakers don't consistently start Kuzma will be the 6th man of the year. If they don't, and I don't know how they rank it, how many starts, how many times did he come off the bench. We don't know what Vogel is going to do with him. We don't know what their starting lineup is going to be. So my backup to Kuzma is all reliable. Lou Williams. If Kuzma doesn't start and he's going to be the 6th man, I see him as being the 6th man of the year. But if they start him and he has too many starts to qualify for the 6th man of the year, then it's going to be Lou Williams. Because we know he's not starting, and we know that he's instant offense off the bench.
Yeah.
So,
any chance of Marcus Smart getting any votes?
I don't think so.
Well, you have no Rozier,
I know. I don't
so
think
he's
so.
going to have a prominent role.
I don't think so. You know, Marcus Smart is one of those guys that does all the little intangible things, but he doesn't do enough of one thing to shine as Sixth Man of the Year. He's going to be valuable nonetheless, but I don't see him as a qualifier in my opinion. Who do you have for your Defensive Player of the Year?
Well, really, for me, it comes down to three players. Giannis, Rudy Gobert, but the one that I really think is going to win Defensive Player of the Year is Patrick Beverley. I think that Patrick Beverley is going to play defense at an all-time high as far as being aggressive because he knows he's got defenders behind him. He's playing with house money. He's got George on one end of the wing, and he has Kawhi on the other end. And, you know, if he plays aggressive the way he wants to, I mean, that player he's guarded is not going to be able to get rid of the ball as quickly because who he wants to pass it to is going to be guarded as well. And I just think Patrick Beverley is going to have a breakout year on the defensive side, and that's going to be his way of contributing to the Clippers' success this year.
You can easily go with Gobert.
Yeah.
I love that Patrick Beverley pick. Giannis, yes. I mean, he plays great defense. I don't think that's going to be his calling card so much this year. I mean, it's always going to be something that he does. You can go with Embiid. Embiid can have a defensive presence. But I'm going with someone that is on a new team this year and has a lot to prove. I'm going with Jimmy Butler as my Defensive Player of the Year. Jimmy Butler is known for defense. He's playing in a system in Miami that is a Spoelstra, Pat Riley system that emphasizes defense. I think that, you know, it's a long shot, but I'm going with the long shot. I think that Jimmy Butler will be the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, you know, I like Jimmy Butler as a good defender, and actually he's one of the top two-way players in the game. But I think Jimmy Butler would be better defensively if he's playing on a defensive team. I'm curious to see what kind of team Miami throws out there. You know, they don't have Hassan Whiteside back there as the cleanup guy, just in case the man gets beat and he can alter the shot or block the shot. So I think Jimmy Butler's impact is going to be more felt on the offensive end than it is on the defensive end. But you know what? He is someone who, throughout his career, has taken pride on that side of the game.
On that side of the court, yeah.
And you know, he is a good defensive player. I wouldn't necessarily have him up there as a defensive player candidate. But you know what? If he's a defensive player of the year candidate, he's going to also be an MVP candidate.
And you know what? That's not far. Listen, we don't know what Miami is going to put out there, okay? That's yet to be seen. But the bottom line is we know that they're going to be intense. They're going to play hard.
They will.
And we said it a couple of shows ago about Jimmy Butler. His problem was always with people, we said young people, but his problem was with people not having the intensity, not playing hard. He's going to play hard.
Yeah.
That's Pat Riley's staple. And so that team is going to play hard. They may not be, but they're going to be the scrappiest team, definitely in the East. And I think that he's going to be the equivalent to a Patrick Beverley. He's always going to be in your face, and he won't back down. So, you know, it's a long shot, I realize, but that's who I'm picking. But for my next category, I'm really picking a long shot. Who's your Coach of the Year?
Well, right now, wow. I think that Brett Brown is going to be a candidate. I believe Brett Brown will be a candidate. I believe Mike Malone is going to be a candidate out of Denver. And I'm going with Mike Malone being Coach of the Year. I really do. I think that they're going to be the number one seed in Denver. It's a talented group and it's a deep group. But, you know, there's really not two major stars on that team. It may only feature one all-star player, and I think that the coach is going to have a lot to do with the success of that team, who he inserts, when he inserts him, who he gives leeway. I mean, I'm interested to see what Jamal Murray does. He's got his first extension on a contract, his big deal. Is his pockets going to be weighted down and he can't get up and down the court? So I'm curious, but I believe Mike Malone is going to be coach of the year.
Well, I mean, if Mike Malone is coach of the year, Murray's pockets won't be weighed down because part of coach of the year is motivating and getting people to play.
Exactly.
And putting the contract aside, we need you to play.
We need you to play.
Okay, we paid you to play.
Right.
We need you to play. Controversial pick. But I think part of coach of the year, sometimes it's held against you when you have superstars. And when you have superstars of the caliber that this coach has, it's hard to say that he's the reason that you won. So you can't give him coach of the year. But I'm going to say because of all the things that are going on around him, I'm picking Frank Vogel as coach of the year. I know it's controversial. I know it sounds silly. But listen, if he can rally that team to do what they need to do, if he can get a system in place that is going to utilize all of those players and have them play in unison, play as one, that's coach of the year material to me.
I'm not going to say it hasn't happened, but a quick thought as I look back, I cannot recall a time where a head coach of LeBron James has won coach of the year. Anytime a LeBron James team has had any success, it's always been credited to LeBron James. I don't see Frank Vogel coming close to coach of the year at all.
Okay.
And
Listen, I said it was a long shot.
It's a 5-pointer.
Listen, I tell you what, I'm going to Vegas in a few weeks. I'm going to put some money down on that.
And you know what? That's a good bet.
That's a good bet because if I win,
you have nothing to lose.
Man, Deep Goose is going to be on ESPN.
and by the time it comes back, whatever you put down on it, you ain't even going to miss it. So,
exactly.
But, I would love to see a head coach get credit for a LeBron James team. Because LeBron can never do wrong. Mm-mm. And anything that happens that is successful on a LeBron James team, he just gets all the credit. And sometimes I think it's simply unfair.
It is. And I think this is going to be the first year because LeBron, I think, is going to take somewhat of a backseat. I think LeBron realizes at this point, I need coaching. Not me so much, but the team. LeBron is a savant. He sees and they have two savants on that team, him and Rondo. So they are basketball savants. But in each case, he's got to pull all of these personalities and these different strong-willed people together. Now, what can work against him is the Jason Kidd, Lionel Hollins that we talked about last week. But I'm still going to go with Frank Vogel. I'm going to go with Frank Vogel. I like your pick. What's the Utah coach's name?
Quinn Snyder.
Quinn Snyder.
That could be a good.
That could be another good pick.
A very good pick. I don't disagree with that.
So, all right, let's go to what we see beyond awards. We talked about our West and we talked about our East. So you picked your top 8 teams in the East. Who do you see playing in the Eastern Conference Finals with 2 teams?
Milwaukee and Philly. I don't see anyone beating those 2 teams. I think Milwaukee will secure home court advantage throughout the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. And I just think Philly is actually the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think that they won't secure the number 1 spot simply because load management here and there to Joel Embiid to be on the safe side. But, yeah, I think it's coming down to those 2.
I have those 2, and I'll tell you this. And we said this when we talked about the Eastern Conference. If it were not for the loss of Al Horford in Boston, I would have Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And I agree with that statement because if they were able to maintain keep Horford and sign Enes Kanter,
Ooh,
that would be a great combination
Wow.
down in the box.
my,
And
my,
and
my.
I believe that Kemba Walker is the perfect point guard for a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum compliment.
Right, and confidence.
And not only that, I think that puts Tatum in his more rightful position.
Natural, right.
And because although he's had some success at that power forward spot, but I just don't think that's his spot.
That's not his spot. And so, I think Jason Tatum, but not Jason Tatum. I'm going with Philly and Brooklyn because of the Horford absence in Boston. But I think, an outside shot could be the Indiana Pacers.
So you think Philly and Brooklyn is going to be?
I said Brooklyn. I'm sorry, Philly and Milwaukee, the Bucks.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Philly and Milwaukee.
Wow.
Not Brooklyn. No.
That would be.
That was a blooper. That was a blooper.
I was gonna say you became a fan.
Nah, not really. I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm telling you that right now. All right, who do you have in the West? Who's your Western Conference final teams?
I think it's LA versus LA.
LA versus
I think it's
LA.
gonna be Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
We didn't talk about this. I got LA and LA.
Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna come down to.
All right, who's going to be in the finals?
It's gonna be Philly versus the Lakers.
We did not share this. I got Philly and the Lakers also.
Yeah, I think that I caught some flack, again, speaking of NBA radio, I got some flack about Dwight Howard. I think that Dwight Howard is truly a difference maker for the Lakers. And not, when I was talking to them, they thought I meant they're going to feed him the ball. And oh, no. His athleticism is going to be too much for Zubac. I don't think Zubac can keep up with him. The thing about Dwight Howard, if he's a good teammate, this is the only way that the Lakers can get to the final. He's a good teammate. But one thing about Dwight Howard, he's been a knucklehead where he's been the last couple of stops, but he's still getting 16 and 12.
Yes.
He's still a threat around the basket for block shots. He's still altering shots. He's still a guy who can get the rebound, hand it to a point guard, and be the first one up the court. I don't think they have anybody that can match his energy when he is engaged and focused. And if he's a good teammate, then he's a good fit, and he could be the missing link.
All right, so I agree with everything that you just said. So you have Philly, you have the Lakers, and that goes back to what year was that? 80?
82.
Was it 82?
80.
That was Magic's.
Magic
first.
came in 79.
So that was the 80 finals.
Yeah, they lost. They beat Philly in 80, but I think Philly beat them in 82.
Okay. Anyway, but the Lakers won Magic's first year.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning?
I have Philly beating the Lakers in the finals. I think that Philly is gonna capture their first capture an NBA title in a very long time. I believe they're gonna have enough to beat the Lakers. I think that Brett Brown is coaching for his life. I think that he's gonna give his best coaching performance. I think Horford is just the missing piece that they need. And I think that Philly will be active in the buyout market. And I think they'll be the team that picks up Andre Iguodala. And I like Philly's chances over the Lakers and winning the NBA championship.
I just have a question for you. Going back to 2 shows ago, you can't stand Ben Simmons.
No.
So
Not that I can't stand him. I just don't think he's in the top 25.
okay.
I think he's a good player and everything. And I think he's a very serviceable player. I just don't think he's top 25.
Okay, all right. I have the opposite. This is where we part ways. I'm going with the Lakers. I think the Lakers are going to win the NBA Finals this year. I think I have Frank Vogel. And I'm going to give you my argument. I have Frank Vogel as Coach of the Year. Part of it being Coach of the Year, I know it doesn't. The votes go in before the playoffs. but he's going to have that team primed when they go into the playoffs. I think the Dwight Howard piece, I think they're going to be aggressive in the buyout market, and I think Iguodala is going to be on the Lakers. I just think that that's going to be a team that's going to gel. I think that you cannot look past, and I am no LeBron fan, but you can't look past what LeBron brings and his knowledge of playoff basketball and knowing how to win. So I'm going to go with the Lakers. So as we went through our MVP, most improved player, our rookie of the year, our sixth man, defensive player of the year, and the coaches and who's going to win, it is now time for our closing comments.
Well, my closing comments is going to center around a player, Kevin Durant. Not too long ago, he went on a very popular show in New York City, a radio station, talking about it's not cool. The Knicks are no longer cool. And you had a lot of Knicks fans up in arm about his statement saying that the Knicks are not cool and free agents is not coming here. And you know what? I don't disagree with what he said. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, long-time suffering fan, not ashamed of it, will tell you that each and every time. You know, the thing about it is that we're looking at this year's draft class. They were born in 2000. Players that been in the league 5 years, they're born in 1995. They don't know the glory days of the New York Knicks when they were winning in the 70s. They didn't even see the Patrick Ewing-led Knicks that were the bad boys of the 90s and went to 2 finals in that decade. They haven't seen that. So what they have seen is Charles Oakley getting tossed out by security, Dolan getting into it with fans in the arena. So yes, maybe it isn't cool to come be a Knick at this time. I don't dispute Durant's statement, but I do think the Knicks is in a position to start climbing upwards. It ain't gonna be overnight, but the future is looking bright. And I believe in 7 years from now, they'll be cool again when Zion wants to come to the Garden and meet up with his college teammate, R.J. Barrett. They will be cool again. Those are my closing comments.
I didn't know we were doing Def Comedy Jams. I didn't know. All right. Let me move to my closing comments. And I'm going to be very brief. I could not stand David Stern. I love Adam Silver. And Adam Silver, a few weeks ago, did something that was very courageous. In the midst of all the money that was coming out of China, he stood up for freedom of speech. He stood up for Maury, who probably said something ill-advised, but you know what? It was his right to say it. And though China doesn't have freedom of speech, Adam Silver stood up for the freedom of speech that we have here in America. You know, China is threatening to, boycott and pull money out. Well, you know what? The NBA is going to also continue to flourish. They're going to continue to grow. And I commend you, Adam Silver, for standing behind your teams, your players, and the management for being able to say what they think and not trying to edit or censor what players or management has to say. Those are my closing comments. But we got another one in the can, Ron?
Yes.
We did another show.
Yes.
And, we want to hear from you. Right here is how you can reach us. Please let us know. We're going to be running polls on Facebook. We're going to, do some interactive things on YouTube. And of course, DETV and Rewind Network. We're happy to be a part of your network, your station. We are the Deep Hoops Cast. I am the minister.
And I'm Rob.
Where we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love. We'll see you next time right here on Deep Hoops. Peace.